You're hearing me, but you're not feeling me.
We're hitting nothing but dingers here.
Boy, crikey, that's a great point.
Welcome to the Weekly Chaos. We are coming to you at the speed of sound from the Hexapod Soundhouse in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm Nick.
I'm Luke.
And I'm DJ Broadcast.
Big shout out to our returning listeners and a coy hello to our new friends. Weekly Chaos is a headlines news show that's all about variety, being eclectic, seeing the world from different angles. We don't know where we're going, but we know we'll get you faster than you can say.
Follow us on Instagram at Velocity Chaos Pod and on Twitter at Velocity Chaos P. Also go on Facebook, all that good stuff. Drop us some stars and love on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that good jazz. And, set your podcast players to download so we get those numbers. And thank you guys, as always, for your support. Giddy up!
It's time for the Weekend Box Office Report hosted by the Weekly Chaos. Here we go with the weekend estimates. Top 5 films grossing across May 5th through May 7th. Number 1, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 hit play on the final playlist this weekend for an opening of $114 million. It was a little soft to kick off the blockbuster summer, but I'll take all the Groot I can get. Number 2, The Super Mario Bros. Is going for a high score, another $18.6 million in its 5th weekend, and has officially crossed the $500 million mark domestically. Number 3, Evil Dead Rise reanimates for another $5.7 million in its 3rd weekend to bring its domestic cumulative to $54.1 million. Number 4, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret knocks in another $3.3 million. I really don't know what this movie is about, but it's making a decent amount of money for Lionsgate. Number 5, John Wick Chapter 4 is just completely unkillable and collects another $2.3 million. I may never get to stop reporting about this title. A few honorable mentions here. Really just one. Love Again has opened to $2.4 million for Screen Gems as an independent release. The film stars Priyanka Chopra Jonas, Sam Hogan, and Celine Dion, and has one of the more heartstring pulling log lines I've heard in a while. Just about a woman who is texting her deceased fiance's phone until another guy who inherits the phone number from Verizon Wireless starts texting. Could you imagine the product placement on that film? Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Just to be that guy, like if you're a lonely dude too and you got that message, dude, that's your lucky day.
Yeah, lucky day.
There's still hope.
She's wanting and moist. I'm going to hit you guys with a power slam right here. WWE, for the first time since 2005 in January, they went to Puerto Rico for their pay-per-view of Backlash, WrestleMania Backlash here. We got to see Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar in the main event going down. Brock getting all bloodied up, the mayhem and the carnage. But that was not the match of the night. That was the main event. But there was a main event, and in Puerto Rico, who's a little Puerto Rican that you know? Rapper, artist.
There's a lot.
Bad Bunny.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's in there. He got in the ring with Damian Priest, and they put on the show of the night, or the match of the night, I should say, for an incredible show. At first, Damian Priest ragdolled Bad Bunny around. Then he pinned him. He's about to have a 3 count. And Damian Priest lifts his shoulder up. He's like, I'm not done with you. And then they went on for like 20 more minutes of just going through the crowd, like chairs, garbage cans, kendo sticks, all that fun stuff. But I think the coolest thing was watching that was the crowd in Puerto Rico. They were just so much more intense, and just the atmosphere that they brought, and the chorus of uno, dos, tres on every pinfall. It was a lot of good energy that they brought, and it was fun to watch.
This sounds great. I've been thinking a lot about this because I've been seeing WWE Backlash pop up in the news, and I'm like, oh, what did they do this time? But it's genius marketing because you think it's a controversy, but really it's just Backlash is a branding tool. So I think that's a really funny name for it. Yeah. And I like how they're starting to get other celebrities involved. It seems like it's a brand and a product that anybody can jump in on. Maybe they'll have a Velocity Chaos like cage match tag team. Let's do it. Let's get in on there.
I got you for 3 minutes. Dude, that makes me so excited because like WWE never dies. Like in or whatever form it takes, whether it's Raw, SmackDown, whatever. Yeah. Like But just there's something about like when your kids together, like your parents are hanging out upstairs, and then you guys go down the basement. You're like, "I'm putting you in the chokehold," and then somebody inevitably jumps off the couch and busts their brain open.
Yeah.
It's a great time. So, I love the SmackDown stuff. I love WWE's. That's kind of sweet. The crowd, dude. Oh my god. Any sport that's getting us jacked up in summertime. What's your guys' favorite move, real quick?
Randy Orton, the thing that he did in the air where he'd like jump and spin and grab your
the
neck.
RKO.
Yeah, the
That's a good
RKO.
one.
Yeah.
I like a good power bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, the crucifix power bomb
Dude.
from the bad man himself.
I'm a classic elbow drop guy myself.
Okay, yeah.
One you can always throw in the pool. Doesn't get anybody too hurt.
Iconic.
But yeah, man. But let me snag that one from you because there's people getting hurt. The Supercross community is a buzz right now. It's absolutely off the chain. Everybody, like I'm gonna stray away from giving you guys all the stats here. We don't have to hit you with everything. Supercross is one of my favorite sports. Has gone nuts because just this past weekend at Empower Field in Denver, home of the Broncos, as we all know, they got, I think it was like, over 1 million pounds of dirt dumped, and Supercross returned to Denver. Eli Tomac, the defending champion, it's his home state, so it got shaken up this weekend, though. Talking about Eli. Eli was the is the defending champion in Supercross with only 2 rounds left to go, Denver being the second last. They had killer heat races leading up to the main events, had some 250 winners get their first podiums. Eli came out to the main event, and after, he came out second place, but getting about, halfway into the race, he came out, and they call it a triple jump. You get these, you have your takeoff, and then you have a jump in the middle that you actually will jump over to the third, so that's what makes it a triple. Eli ended up overshooting one of the triples halfway through the race, and he ended up slamming down on to the balls of his feet and ruptured his Achilles tendon. Yeah. So really big deal because Eli was up by 18 points going into the series. Or going into the last 2 races of the season. He was supposed to clinch the title that night or take it home in Salt Lake City, Utah. Unfortunately, he will not be returning for the rest of the season, leaving Chase Sexton as number 2 points leader, who is ultimately, as long as he completes the next race, is going to be taken over. So I know we talk about sports all the time, and we talk about how tough these guys are. We talk about hockey players, but this is just like another one of these examples. If you guys watch the video, he actually rides off the track, and he's like communicating. He's like just riding his bike with one foot.
Anymore.
Like foot,
No
don't
clutch.
bend.
No clutch. Yeah. I was gonna say, do they ever go through any type of training of like bailing? Like, hey, you're overshooting, you're seeing it's coming, like just ditch the bike and kind of body land it, because landing on your feet is almost guaranteed injury, something below the groin.
Yeah.
So
they said it was one of those things that was hard because a lot of people commenting on it say you ride so much throughout the season, these guys are getting beat up. He didn't actually fall off the bike. It's that when he landed, his toes were so far back on the bike, and they say he could have just been, he had a knee injury 2 races prior, and it could have just been, it was waiting to go.
Yeah.
And it's just how these things it's just how these things go. So it's kind of hard to watch, to be honest.
Eli, I feel your pain. I feel your pain so much. I think aside from that, bringing in 1 million pounds of dirt for this event, that's incredible. Like stuff like that, Supercross, bull riding stuff, they haul in all this dirt into these arenas, and that's just, to me, that's just the incredible stuff that people don't realize when they go to these type of events, all the stuff behind it. But God damn it, Eli.
There's just somebody who lives near the arena. They get back from work that day. Where's my house? It's just this pit. It's just like 3 houses just gone. It's 3 blocks away from the arena. They just didn't feel like hauling it in from the suburbs.
Oh man.
Guys, keeping it in sports, I'm gonna move over. I call this. I renamed this story for myself. From pitch to prison bitch is the name of my story here, and essentially. ESPN reported, it's actually all over the place, definitely in Britain as well and in Europe, but ex-MLS player pleads guilty to leading a drug cartel. Oh. So this guy, Sergio Contreras, he played in Europe, I believe, and he played in the MLS. He played for Houston Dynamo. He's accepted a 6-year prison sentence, which is actually a pretty good plea bargain because typically the minimum for like drug trafficking is like 20. But he was doing cannabis and like illegal in illegal places and some other stuff, harder stuff. his street nickname was Coke. Koke. I'm gonna trick everybody.
So misleading.
Nobody will know. I just think it's funny. It's really interesting how some of these players, they come in with certain baggage going into it. They play, they build their stuff, they have their money, and then all of a sudden, like, the ties come knocking, and they're like, "Hey, remember those things we did for you back in the day? Now it's time to make good." I'm not saying that he's innocent from that perspective. You still have to participate, but he's 40 years old, so obviously retired and had his day in the sun. But I think that's just wild that he wasn't participating. Like, he was the head of the gang.
Yeah. I mean, that's just a win for Pepsi right there in that situation. But like you're saying, these guys, they start so young. Like, it's even through, high school and middle school. They're getting drafted and scouted and everything. They don't know how to work after it's all said and done. Then they finish their career, and what are they? Oh, I got this money. And then some guy comes up and says, "Hey, you got a lot of money. I got some product I need help moving." And then they just get wrapped up in this, like, "Oh, look how much more money I'm making. Look how much, hey, call me Coke. Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool nickname." And then they run into situations like this. That's all it is.
Hey, man, he probably figured. He's like, I ran for a living. So he's like, who's going to catch me now? Who's catching me, baby? Like, that's how it goes.
I got to take one real quick before we move on to this next one. This is not going to be a simple thing, and people might not agree, but there have been, over the weekend, there was a mass shooting in Texas. It was ugly situation, terrible thing. There have been over 200 mass shootings in 2023. We're 5 months in, barely, and there have been so many mass shootings. I have a different, maybe not a different take than everybody, but I have my idea. First of all, I don't watch any of it. Like, I see it, it's like, that's terrible. I feel bad for the people. It's mind numbing with how much hate and stuff there is out there. I don't think we have a gun problem. There's not. The problem is people that don't know how to control their emotions. We have a mental health problem in this country, and it's going overlooked. Other things are happening, and things are getting swept to the side. We're not checking in. Check in with people right now. That's what I want to say is check in with people, see how they're doing. There's a lot of people I know back in high school, kids got bullied all the time, and you join in, whatever, it's fun, ha ha ha. But nowadays, kids don't know how to vent or release their anger. They think showing up to schools or malls or movie theaters with guns is the only answer at that point, and then it's either suicide by cop or suicide by yourself. And it's just sickening to see this stuff every single day that so many people are losing their lives. And is it as simple as saying hello or how you doing and checking in with people? And I'm sorry, to bring the mood down and all, but I think it's just people. Can't we all just get along? Like,
no, I mean, and it's a hard thing. Like, I mean, I give you credit for bringing it up, because it's a hard thing to talk about in a world where everything is so polarizing. You know what I mean? No matter your politics, everybody's got to debate this, that, and I will not sit here and claim to know the answer. I think that's one thing. All of us should do is recognize is we don't know what the answer is. But I think in a world that we find, we have our phones, we have this, we have that, we have so much media presence, but the funny part is we have so much isolation going on, whether it be mentally, this or that. I think you're on the right track, man. I mean, just to reach out to those around you. Be kind. We talk about it all the time. How many great stories do we get to talk about on the show here, from our regular show to Weekly Chaos? And it's our Australian buddies that have so many good stories or anything. You know what I mean? Any positive moments. How can you look to your neighbor and say, hey, let's worry about our immediate circle? You said reach out to your friend, and it's what they say. You never know who's going through what with all the politics going on in the world or all the social problems. So I mean, good for you for bringing it to our eyes, and hopefully, God forbid it happens again, and then it probably will. But it's one of those things. Hey, man, hopefully we can all move forward one day at a time and just try to be better people on the topic. So.
Yeah, I mean, just quick chime in, and then I got actually story that kind of contrasts this pretty well. But like, I think it's less of a sadness problem, more of an anger problem. I think we should definitely be kind to people and look out for those who are like being stomped on and pushed down. But I think to commit violence against such a large group of people takes like an insane amount of anger. People who are sad, I don't think are doing this. Like it's a different type of emotion that's motivating it. And I think where we need to be responsible, like you said, to look out for people who are being bullied and who are being like shoved down and who are sad. We also need to be aware of two things. One, I think calling it out when people do have an anger problem, either addressing it with them or in some cases reporting it, because anger is not something that can really self-relegate. And I think the other thing is we have to tear down the stereotypes on therapy and on getting help, especially if it's accountability through men's groups or through societal organizations, and just admitting that you have an anger problem, because I think that violence is coming from a place of anger. And it's because I know that in New York City, like suicides are up, people jumping off buildings is up. That's a sadness. That is isolation. That is a true, like, I'm alone, I have nothing left, and I'm going to take myself out. But when you're taking other people out on your way out, that's an anger and a flipping the bird to the rest of humanity. And that's the only way to curb that, I think, is through like some severe societal honesty and keeping each other accountable in a harsh way if we have to. Like, I'd much rather call somebody out and really get on their case, or like call them out or call somebody on them thinking that there's something going on, rather than just letting it, oh yeah, I didn't say anything, and that person always had an anger problem.
Like letting it fester.
Yeah. So I think we got to be aware that the dialogue is not just about lonely people, it's about angry people. But anyway, to kind of like counter that, I read a nice advice column from a 102-year-old doctor that is actually the complete opposite. So this woman, she's 102. She's been a doctor. She's she's a parapsychiatrist. So there's a psychologist. So there's a little asterisk next to this. A lot of holistic medicine, a lot of things that are a big part of it. Dr. Gladys McGarry. But she said that the one thing that she's noticed in people that her entire life who have lived happy lives is they're very good at letting things go. They're good at letting regret go, anger go. They're good at letting things that are a burden to them go, and they're willing to rebuild at all levels, whether it's career, personal, emotional, relationships, rebuild themselves. And she said that in a lot of cases that she's found people who have gotten like a physical thing to symbolize letting go. Her thing is, she learned it from her mother, like you're holding something in your hand and you kind of breathe in and then you just like let it go like that. And she does that when she's like symbolizing to herself, she's letting it go, but the physical thing triggers the emotional and mental thing as well. So I think that's a really great thing to think about on the heels of our last topic of, as a society, we need to let something go. I've been bothered. I lost a phone a while ago that had a lot of pictures and stuff on it. It's been eating at me. And it's sad because you're like, oh, I lost all those memories, but I still have my wife. And so I need to learn to let that go. I haven't yet. I can't say, I got to be, being honest, right? Mm-hmm. Saying I have not let it go, but I need to get closer and closer to it and eventually just try to cut it loose, because photos are really important, I think, and are beautiful, but they're not everything. So that's just like something from my life that I've been thinking about how to let it go, how to really truly like sever the emotional regret of misplacing it and just kind of going on to the next thing to rebuild, or do it better. Make sure I do put my photos somewhere safe. So I'm learning.
Yeah, man. I think I just want to comment back to your OG story about the doctor themselves. I'm one of those people who has to vet my doctor, and I'll tell you what, if somebody walked into my office and they're like, what qualifications do you have? I'll just hand them a birthday card. Like, need I say more?
Been around for a while.
Yeah.
They know some things. They got some proverbs in the back pocket, maybe even the front one. It's not getting all inked up from the pens, but no, there is something in being able to let things go. And one thing I heard, is, like you said, dropping something is, writing it out in like a letter form, or just either to yourself or to whoever hurt you or whatever hurt you, and then burning it. like have a little fire, like bonfire or something, throw it in there, symbolic of it's gone, it's done, dust in the wind. And yeah, it is, there are things that happen. You have to sit with that pain for a little bit. You do. The things that happen to you, you have to sit with it. You have to go through it, and then you can let it go. You got to mature through it. You grow through pain, you grow through suffering, and usually, I'd say 99.99999 times, you come out a better, stronger person for it.
Yeah.
And you're wiser, you're stronger. I think I already said that one, but you're equipped and able to deal with more stuff in the future. That's like you're just building yourself up, if you think about it like as a video game or something, or like a superhero in some way. Like you're just ticking off the boxes of building your stats.
Yeah, man, that's a good lesson for kids.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, man, Luke, I know you got a little bit of a vendetta of kids. You know,
Hate those kids.
We're always reporting on kids. We're always reporting on the ones who need a good rock'em sock'em. But I'd like to take a second and report on a kid who deserves a major pat on the back. You know, a kid who's probably got it pretty strong. But last week, a Michigan bus driver from the Warren School District, Michigan, was feeling a little dizzy, and they ended up calling in on the radio like, "Hey guys, like I'm feeling dizzy. I'm gonna have to pull this bus over." And before they had a chance to, ended up losing consciousness while driving a bunch of middle schoolers home. But thankfully, this young student, Dylan Reeves, stepped into action like a little Superman. He jumped up from his seat, grabbed control of the wheel of the bus as the bus was still rolling, and was able to reach out with his foot and easily depress the brake on the bus and slow it to a stop.
Wow.
Yeah, and he actually, in the process, like, he ended up bringing the bus over to the side of the road, getting it to stop, and had the wherewithal to like have the bus stop and say, "Hey, you guys, call 911 right now!" Like very crystal clearly.
Yeah.
If you guys have it, I'll put the video down in the description so you guys can check it out. But once it came to a stop, it was, that was his moment. Like very clear. Step 1, 2, 3, and the kid started yelling. He goes, "No, call the police now! Like call 911." It was like immediate, really with authority. But it was really cool because they held a press conference after the fact, kind of hailing this kid as a hero, saving his fellow classmates because the bus was moving to oncoming traffic, and it was neat. His dad said, he said, "I'm very proud of my son." He said he's been, I've had him on my lap before in the car driving backcountry roads since he was 4. You know what I mean?
And a cop comes over and just gives him a ticket.
Driving a minor around. But just wanted to bring like a little more levity to some of the things we can be negative about on the show.
No, I grew up driving, like, from being young on the lab, two-handed on there. But how do you spell his name? Is it Dylan?
I think it's Dill here.
D-I-O. But anyway, who are the best 5 bus drivers in the world? Dylan, and Dylan. That's right. little Mr. Reeves saving the day right there. And the bus driver having that vasovagal reaction, probably losing the blood pressure, fainting. That is a person who they see a problem. They're going to step in and take care of the situation because there's probably 20, 30, 40 other little kids on the bus. Like he's like, "I'm not dying at this age. I'm saving everyone here. We're all going to make it to Memorial Day."
Well, I'm glad he at least saved himself because, all the other kids were a bunch of dum-dums, I bet. We saved one good one, but we got a bunch of dum-dums because, like you said, like all the other ones were probably like, "Oh my God, let me put this on the TikTok." And like that kid's like, "No, call 911. This guy is having an aneurysm." So he's going places, future CEO, everyone else, just the grunts that'll be working for him.
Everyone was like, "Press B to wave to the bus driver." Party bus, Fortnite, yeah. Let's get off at Party City or whatever. Anyways, let's move on to this Party City. The coronation happened this weekend. King Charles III, finally, after, our beloved Queen Mother Elizabeth II passed away in last September. We now have King Charles III. And some things I want to take away from that is Camilla is not she's not queen consort. She got bumped straight into queen status. So there's no, because she's not like of the lineage. There's whole something. Michelle explained it to me. This is all, I'm just relaying this information to you guys. You guys can figure it out. The other thing that while we were watching, Penny Mordaunt, conservative lawmaker in the United Kingdom, has been and has been ever since 2010. There was the babe in the blue dress with holding the jewel sword.
Yeah, word. Okay.
Yeah, total cougar. Just thought that was one thing to point out. And then the last thing, Zadok the priest.
Zadok.
That was some straight Dungeons and Dragons stuff right there as that popped up on the screen. I'm like, Zadok the priest. I feel like if that wasn't in a campaign that I played, it's about to be in a campaign. And but this whole coronation. Are we done with this? Are we done with this royalty? This is just like playing house. They don't even have power, do they? They don't have. This is all bullshit.
I'm still just trying to type this lady's name in because you said
Penny Mordaunt.
Penny Mordaunt. All right,
yeah.
give me a second. No, I'm just kidding. I have a perfect response to this. One of my favorite tweets over the weekend was from my boy McNeil, who's like a Cleveland, like Twitter celebrity. And he just goes, we won a war, so we didn't have to give a shit about this.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, didn't we 1700 something? Like, yeah, we don't care about this anymore. Why are we tuning in?
We already tuned out.
Yeah.
Like 200 years ago, we tuned out.
I'm trying to go. Listen, man, don't take it away. I'm trying to go reverse sleeper cell on this whole action. I'm gonna get in there. I'm gonna get me a little bit of class. What they say? I'm gonna gentrify this situation. I don't know, but I'm gonna get in there, and then we're gonna turn that whole boat around. And the UK is gonna be drinking coffee before you know it. Let's go.
We're gonna colonize.
Baby.
We're gonna colonize you. See how you feel.
I'm looking at you, Penny.
We're gonna colonize Penny. All right. So last story for me today, going into some video games. All right. Going into some video games. Essentially, ChatGPT ain't got shit on voiceover artists. I'm just killing it with these headlines today. The point is, somebody went out and made a mod that connected ChatGPT to Skyrim. And so all the NPCs, you can that was the one time where you would never know that I messed that up and I had to clarify it myself. So they plugged ChatGPT into all the NPCs and then hooked it up to your like mic so you could actually talk into the PlayStation or into the game, and then the NPC would respond based off of what ChatGPT heard. But the thing, everyone's been reporting about this and hyping it up. I really like the way that this guy, Luke Plunkett, wrote about it on Kotaku, because he was like, this is a horror show. This is a straight up horror show. And if you want AI to be in your video games and in your movies and in your media in the future, then you're going to get what you pay for. And I really like that this guy's just like taking it to him, because one, you're sitting there for like 3 minutes as like ChatGPT is processing, both hearing you and then creating the dialogue back and then feeding it into like the automated system. And then it's like, yes, sir, 2,000 pounds at 2 a.m. And you're like, 2 a.m. at Skyrim? Like, what the fuck? Like, you're just like, the sun's up or the sun's down at Skyrim. Like, no one got a watch. No one got a wrist watch. A witch watch. This ain't The Witcher. The point is that it's just like, and like, it's clunky. The words, the punctuation's off. Like, so like it's just stuttered and it's weird. And it's just like, when you have good voice acting, which I am a true believer in, it really just elevates the game that much more. And I'm not going to lie to you, I love finding NPC loops. Where you're like, you've been back like 20 times and the guy finally starts repeating himself.
Stay
a
while and listen.
Yeah, you're like, I know, Jerry. I know about the orc around the corner because I just killed him, okay? This is his loincloth that I have tied around my neck like a bandana.
Oh, you found the loincloth.
Quit coming after my games, okay, man? I want to have a different experience by regular, plain, dumb robots. You guys already know where I stand with AI. I'm going to dig into some more of this shenanigans later. But plus, I talked about it on the last one. The OG mods to the Skyrim NPCs and dragons were the best. I want that. I want the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Macho Man Randy Savage as my dragons. Go, yeah.
Hey, this is infancy. It doesn't matter where you stand on an AI, but this is the infancy. I'm sure the first wheels were probably octagonal shaped. Okay, we're working through the kinks. It's gonna take a little while, and it's gonna get better whether you like it or not. AI overlord is here, and we will serve whatever we need to serve to survive.
Well, speaking of serving it up, there's going to be more AI coming, because there's a McDonald's that's serving up burgers, and there's no employees. Not one. Well, maybe one, because somebody's got to turn the switch on. But over in White Settlement, Texas, a suburb of Fort Worth, if you're not familiar with White Settlement, there's plenty of those around America anyway. But
Nailed it.
MKV Enterprises and McDonald's are using a concept location to test out for future locations that is completely run by robotic staff. Now, there is no on-site dining at this place. You can still enter into the McDonald's and order. We've seen this. We've seen the big touch screens at local Taco Bells and oh, wait, I'm talking to the wrong guy. We've seen the big screens, Taco Bells and McDonald's, where you guys can put the orders in. However, there is no option for humans to bring it to you. There's actually these little servy job robots that we've seen tested out at other restaurants. They'll bring you your food and be like, here you go, sir. And the one, I got to find her name here. I believe it's Rosamond Jusab. I'm butchering that. I'm sorry. But
good old Rosie.
She was a general manager at this location for 8 years when Keith Vanchek, the enterprise owner, decided, hey, I want to pitch this concept and we're going to try fully automated. Also, you can order McDonald's via the app, and when you pull through the drive-thru, your food will come out via conveyor belt to you out of the window. So we can't, grab the ice cream cone from them and cone anybody anymore. So what are you going to do? That's what's going on in Texas.
Oh, I love it. I love this right now. You know what happens when you go to order from people? People mess stuff up. That's right. You try your darndest to be nice, calm, and courteous, but you know what people do? People still mess up your. Actually, I don't have many issues with messed up orders.
To say you're regular, right?
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, we got you right here. But no, the thing is, if technology, when you think about it, when we implement technology and it takes away jobs, we should be lowering prices, right? Eventually, prices should come down to affordable levels. I'm for it if it does that, but if it doesn't, it's like then we don't have jobs and we can't pay for anything, and now we're just broke. But really, things should just, after technology kicks in and all this information and stuff is put into the system, and now we got Wendy's and, well, there's no more Burger Kings anymore. I don't know if you guys know if those are all gone, but Taco Bells, whatever. We just get our burritos wrapped up, nice little package. It shoots a little T-shirt cannon at you out in your car as you're driving out. I'm for that world, but as long as, like I said, prices are coming down, and that means you can spend more time with your friends ordering food and they're not at work.
Yeah, man, I'm all for it. Let's take away jobs from that 20-year-old college dropout with the neon green hair just working at Taco Bell at 2 a.m. to try to fund his Twitch stream lifestyle. Hell yeah, brother. Let's take it away from him. Let's make him go out in the field and work for it. I'm just kidding. No. No, this is going to be great. Sooner or later, you're just going to be able to walk into McDonald's. You're going to be able to just open your stomach hatch or just plug yourself in, and it's just going to pump protein nutrients right into your gut. That's just been engineered in the back room by a mechanical SpongeBob, and that'll be great. You won't even have to speak. It'll just know exactly what you want because it's just looked through all your Google searches.
We're just connected onto the metaverse or
I'm
whatever.
calling it now, just to fight you. I can't wait till that manager doesn't update the firmware on the ketchup dispenser, and you get a bag and it's 4 pounds of ketchup and no bun. I hope you get it. I hope everyone's getting what they want.
Joke's on you. I love buns. And you know what? Charlie and the Chocolate Factory already figured this out. Once the machines take your job, then you get the job to fix the machines. It's all a vicious circle.
We're all going to be so good at coding. But until that day, you're still going to need to write stuff down, guys, and you're still going to have to use it. The good old pen, you're going to have to use it. And that segment was great. The whole episode was great. And I have so many ideas from it that I have to write. I have to write them down. But I want to write them down in so many ways. And all I have is this little old click pen. How will I express how great all these magnificent ideas are without options? How? Never fear. Who said that? Superpen is here. Where's that announcement coming from? Superpen has 30 different clicks that allow you to write with black ink, red ink, blue ink, and 7 others. That's okay. I only need these in the first 3 inks. But wait, there's more. Click 5 times fast and open up the highlighter features, and 7 times fast to open our Superpen's answer to Sharpies. Blunties. I guess highlighters could help accentuate my best ideas. That's pretty cool. That's right, and you can have this 5-pound beast of a pen for 12.5 refill cartridges for your black ink for just $10.99. If you use the code VELCHA at checkout, we'll send you a regular click pen for free. Oh, thanks, creepy voice guy. That's great. It's not extra product service idea, just in case you thought it's not. If there is something out there with the same name we are unaware and have no affiliation, offer no judgment of the extra product service idea. All right, favorite part of the show, clickbait headlines. Here we go. I created another one for you guys, crafted one perfectly for you. So I'm going to give it to you. I really didn't need to change it, but it's more fun my way. And then you're going to guess what it is, and then I'm going to show you. It's unreal, all right? It's just completely unreal. Kinky Han Solo.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
You know what this is. You know exactly what this is. This is the whole. It was a whole orgy of Han Solos. Like everyone, they're like, oh, we're having a costume party, Star Wars themed. Everyone showed up as Han Solo, and then they're like, I never knew I met my lovers, and then they all it's all fairy tales from there.
I'm with Luke. I saw the video.
Did you really?
No. I'm just really into it.
Shoot me that link. Okay, guys, you're both wrong, but this is on par with the orgy story. Go ahead and click on it. But the real headline is, he got the Han Solo treatment. Man in latex vacuum sealed cube takes kink to a whole new level. And look, I'm not one for kink shaming, but this is hysterical. This guy is in the middle of a PVC cube, completely encased. Are you looking at this yet?
I just saw it.
Wait, I gotta show it to you. I'll show it to you. Look at this. Look at this. Here it is.
Oh.
Look at this.
Yeah, dude. That's so rad.
So just make sure your lips are tightly sealed, because you don't want your cum to just drizzle up into your mouth. It's so tight. He's like the Rubik's Cube of kinks. But
did you say the Han Solo, the orgy story?
yeah. So no, this is for real. This guy, I guess this is a big thing, a big fetish of just like being completely trapped in the middle of this 3x3 cube, PVC cube of latex.
That's messed up. I am going to shame this one. Like, what the hell? You want to nearly be suffocated and restrained in, like, yeah, that's all I got. Jesus Christ.
The best response is just somebody photoshopped him into the Met Gala carpet. The cube has arrived at the Met Gala.
You can have really good friends just kind of like throw you into the pool and see what happens. That'd be kind of rad. Just swim now, bitch.
All right, and that's it for that one.
Don't be a hero, mate. You look after your mates, and your mates will always look after you. Yeah, cheers.
Yeah, cheers indeed. This is the Aussie news segment of the show where we go down under and check in with our friends at the island nation of Australia. Never ceases to amaze, always impresses. This is better than the Kink Cube, but not as good as the Han Solo headline, Han Solo orgy headline. But essentially, I just call it Doughboy Lorikeets. And essentially, lorikeets are like a bigger version of a parakeet that I guess appear down there as a like offshoot species. And this vet's office got this report of like, hey, you're gonna have to save like this baker's dozen of lorikeets. And they're like, okay, what from? And they're like, from dough. And they're like, ha ha ha, that's funny. They're like, no, from dough. These 13 shit doesn't write it. You can't write this. 13 lorikeets fell into a vat of dough at a bread shop and ended up in a box that went to the vet's office, and they had a baker's dozen of lorikeets come out of this box, and they had to like help them because I guess these species of bird has a little pouch right like in their mouth, but before it goes down their esophagus, where they can store extra food that's not digesting. They just put it in there. And these little buggers were fat. Typically, they weigh in at 130 grams. These guys were between 150, 170 grams. So they were they were packing on an extra 20 grams of dough. So yeah, nicknamed the Doughboys. The vets have seen these swollen crops, they're called, that little pouch. They've seen overpacked crops before and have saved birds before, but they had never seen 13 consecutive lorikeets with chocolate chip cookie dough coming out of their crops.
You ever had lorikeet bread before? Good stuff.
Problem solved.
Yeah.
We should just open a bakery chain down there. Lorikeet. Just like,
It's got to be like an Australian riddle. Like, all right, mate, 13 lorikeets coming to the bakery. What do you do? 7 because there's no bones in ice cream. Get it? Like,
Thankfully-
that's awesome.
I thought you could say doe, a female deer ate 13 lorikeets.
Just carnivorous deer in Australia. What's next? Now the deer want to kill you in Australia.
That just goes to show you that in life, you might get yourself into a sticky situation, a goopy situation with 12 of your pals. I believe some guy did that like 2,000 years ago, and they wrote a whole book about him, a whole new book. They had an old book, and they're like, we need a new book based on this guy's story, and let's send that one as we're flying high across the sky, triple jumping, shattering Achilles tendons. And, that's not the worst of it, because, you just gotta live and let live. You gotta forget about that. You got to go on. You gotta move on, let it go. And, you can go play some video games. Just let the AI world take you away. It's all computers anyways. We're singing it. We're putting crowns on. Oh, the other thing, like when they put the crown on his head, they were like, they couldn't fit it. And like, he took like 20 seconds to get that crown on his head. It's like, what are you doing? You never put a crown on someone's head before? You're Zadok the priest. I don't think that was Zadok. But anywho, when you go down to Puerto Rico, they just do it up and they do it better. Uno, dos, tres. Crowning heroes. That's right. Saving all the children on the bus.
All right, that does it for us today at the Weekly Chaos. We are happy to see you guys here. I want to thank our DJ broadcast for keeping it out there on the internets, on the webs, on the airwaves. Thank you, man, for keeping it live.
Hey, fellas, thanks always for keeping me informed.
We appreciate you and your stories, especially the ones popping Achilles tendons. That one, just every time I hear that, just get the chili willies. And I want to thank my amazing partner in crime, Luke, for co-hosting today. I appreciate you as well, my friend. Guys, listen to us across the airwaves. Make sure you got us set to download to keep the numbers flowing, and you can hit us on all the other socials to interact with us. We love hearing stories from you guys. In fact, DJ Broadcast is building quite a network over there. He doesn't even have to do work anymore because he's got people just sending him stories. So help Luke and I out and get us on the same wavelength on that. Otherwise, we'll catch you on the next one. Have a good one.
And this is Luke signing off. Thank you, guys. Once again, we appreciate you. We will see you out in that wild, wild world. And like we always say, Eli! Ow! Jesus. Have a good one.
That was the Weekly Chaos, brought to you by the Velocity Chaos Podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in and getting your weekly dose of news updates. Make sure to check us out on all your favorite social media platforms at Velocity Chaos Pod and podcast at velocitychaos.com. As always, we appreciate your support. Please tell a friend, and thank you once again.